Welcome to the Down to the Wire podcast. My name is Jet. I'm here with AB. Y'all know how it goes now, I guess. After a few episodes, I think we're pretty accustomed to how things roll here. So let's jump right into it. We already know the playoffs of the NFL has been going on, and some interesting, I guess you could say, upsets starting, in the early rounds with the Bears losing to the Eagles. I don't think anyone really expected that, but it happened. And the Eagles are out of the playoffs now, which is fantastic. No offense to Eagle fans. Just a salty Vikings fan from last year, that's all it is. Anyways, so let's talk about the Super Bowl.
Salty Pats fan.
Yeah. We got, exactly, yeah. We're both pretty salty about last year. But this year, we got Patriots versus Rams, Brady versus Goff. It's the biggest age difference in between starting quarterbacks in the history of the Super Bowl, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna ask the question anyways. I already know the answer, but who do you got winning, AB?
I don't know, man. It's a tough one for me. I've just been a Patriots fan my whole life, but I think I'm gonna have to go Brady for this one.
Gonna have to go with the Rams, eh? Yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm not sold on the Rams. I was sold on them to start the year, looking at their roster. Not so much anymore.
But they've had a real tough stretch the end of the year. They were looking real sketch right there.
Yeah, definitely some. I feel like some of their weaknesses have been exposed, and to me, the number one thing that Belichick and Brady do is expose people's weaknesses. It's how they win games. So I just have a strange feeling the Patriots are going to find a way to win this game, even though the Rams, they have more firepower technically. It's just, I don't know, man. There's just something about the Patriots. They just always find a way to win. Obviously last year they didn't, but last year was also... That was the Nick Foles fluke train that the Eagles rode all the way there. So, it is what it is. But
I think it's just one of those things where it's like the Rams, they have all that talent, but they have to be playing on all. Like when they're dominant, they're all playing on 100%. They're firing on all cylinders because Goff's good, but sometimes you see him and he looks terrible. He plays terrible, and sometimes he just looks bad, especially at the end of the season. I think it's gonna be on Goff's shoulders, kind of. If he doesn't perform 100%, I don't think they can win. Because when he's not playing 100%, he's playing bad. He's not mediocre. He's not mediocre or average, above average. He's really good or he's really bad most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also too, something we saw earlier in the year, I think it was during the regular season, not in the playoffs. Yeah, it was definitely regular season because they ended up losing. But I forget who they played. Someone shut down the Rams' run game. Gurley could not run to save his life. And so they tried to rely on Goff to win that game for them. And it didn't happen. Whether that's Goff, whether that's play calling, receiver play, maybe the receivers weren't there, whatever the case may be, that is 100% how you're going to stop the Rams. Ironically, it's a similar thing with the Patriots because the Patriots' run game has been absolutely insane recently. But the difference between them is that if you stop the Rams' run game, you could beat them. If you stop the Patriots' run game, they could probably still beat you because Brady has proven time and time again throwing to Gronk and Edelman that Edelman has been in the playoffs. I think the only better receiver than him has been freaking Jerry Rice. Legitimately. I don't remember if it was catches or if it was third down catches. But either way, that Brady to Edelman connection's been absolutely insane over the course of their careers. And Edelman showed last week that he still got it. He was 9 catches for however many yards it was, So I don't know. I feel like the Patriots are going to win, and I want them to win just because so many people hate on them. And I think the Rams, they have a lot of young players that they're going to have plenty of time to go get their rings and yada, yada, yada. So, Yeah, we're both going with the Patriots there. Hopefully it'll be a fun game. I mean, I'd love to see it go to overtime because then B-Dubs is giving out free wings. Just a heads up, guys.
Really?
Yep, if you didn't know that, because this will be, I think the only Super Bowl to go to overtime if it does. I think that was what it was for or something like that. But yeah, B-Dubs will be giving out free wings on February. It's either 18th or 28th, one of those. So you're welcome. All right, you got that information from this podcast.
If they go to
Yeah. If they go to overtime, which I think is highly likely, considering last week was the first time in history that both of the conference championship games have gone overtime. So, just saying, possibilities. But we're gonna go ahead and jump over to NBA because there's really nothing else to talk about with NFL. Obviously, you have your whole head coach situation with the offseason and all that, but we'll have a whole offseason, probably a couple episodes about the offseason, just kind of going over everything and what we feel is good, bad, whatever. So we'll get to that. Obviously, we'll talk about the Super Bowl next week.
Who really cares about the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, Pro Bowl's going to be fun to watch, but not much to talk about really until it happens. So moving over to NBA. We're going to start with this guy because he's ridiculous. James Harden, been on an absolute tear over his last, I don't even know how many games, but went ahead and dropped 61 points, 15 rebounds, 5 steals. Career high for him in points, obviously. It might have been career high in rebounds. I mean, that's a lot of rebounds for a guard. And, dude's been bananas, but the Rockets have been trash. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic
they
got
won all
going
those
on
games,
there.
didn't they?
What happened?
Because they beat the Knicks, and then they beat the Lakers. They lost to the Nets in OT. They beat the Sixers.
Well, yeah. They've won recently, but
okay, out
overall,
of that 4-game streak,
right,
they lost one to the Nets. Right. Yeah, but in general, they're still disappointing this season.
But I mean, that's a 4-game streak of Harden putting up insane numbers, and you know what I mean. So it's understandable that they're winning.
Only like when Kobe did that for you, him and Kobe are the only ones who have put up 200 plus points in 4 games.
Right.
This man Harden is like, it's so like, in the beginning of the year it was like, okay, Giannis, Harden's in there, but it was like Giannis is like that guy. Mm-hmm. But now it's like Harden's running away with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like Giannis is playing good, but like, this man James Harden has literally not dropped less than 30 points in like, I don't know. I gotta search it up. But I mean, this man's been destroying kids. Like it's.
And I think something to think about too in regards to the MVP conversation. I do think Harden has pulled away. I think he's in the lead now. But something to think about is that, the Bucks record is actually better than the Rockets right now. I don't know how much better. I just know the Bucks are number 1 in the East, and I think they're number maybe 2 or 3 in the league. So it is something to keep an eye on. But we have seen that
Bucks are number 1 in the East.
Yeah. But we have seen, like with Westbrook, when he won his MVP, when he averaged a triple-double on the year, I think the Thunder were 5th in the West. So the standings matter, but they don't matter too much when you have an amazing year. And I think with the way Harden's going, that's probably going to be his case. And that would be back-to-back, right? He won MVP last year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so... I mean...
I think the Bucks. I really want the Bucks. I think it's going to be... Well, my Eastern Conference pick, I don't know, kind of, I guess out of context. I truly feel the Bucks are going to the finals.
You think so?
I think they can run through the East in the playoffs.
Well, interesting enough, that actually kind of leads into my next topic here, which is not about the Bucks. It probably could have been, but are the Nuggets legit?
Are they
Because
because this is the thing, I don't know, because they're always a top team in the West, but they never really go far. They never go far. But
Not
they're always the top team in the West, and people are always talking about them every year. So it's like,
no, not in recent years. The
they were
Nuggets,
like number.
the Nuggets
They were
haven't
like
even made the
fifth.
playoffs.
What? They were like the 5th seed last year.
No way.
Yes, they were owning last year. They were really good last year, and they didn't do anything in the playoffs.
We'll have to fact check all of this, but I mean, they're right now. I think they're second in the West and fifth overall in the NBA, or they're third in the West, maybe. There's something like that. But I know they're fifth overall in the NBA. They're 31 and 15. But it's an interesting team because I feel like the way that they've kind of built their team might be kind of how the Raptors have been over the last years, which is they'll do good in the regular season, and then when playoff time comes around, they're just not going to be able to beat, any of the teams that matter,
All right, I lied. They definitely did not make the playoffs last year. Bro, I saw. Okay, no, I was thinking of the Jazz. I'm thinking of the Jazz. That's who I'm thinking.
Yes,
of.
that's fair.
Not the Nuggets. That's who I'm thinking of. The Jazz.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say the Nuggets have been pretty bad in that respect. This is their first year being kind of back on the map, Yeah. But it is interesting.
Jazz, Nuggets.
Something else to think about too is this is another point that I had written down was I looked at the home and away records for teams this year. Pretty much every team in the NBA on the road has actually been mediocre. So something to think about.
Yeah, actually, yeah. If you're looking at it right now, it's like there's the Thunder, the Warriors. The Thunder and the Warriors are the only team with a positive away record in the West. Everybody else is either 500 or below. And same thing in the East. Just the Bucks and the Bucks, Raptors, Pacers. And that's it. Everybody else is above or below. And that's pretty insane, actually.
So my point with that is, right, this is where I think home court advantage in the playoffs is going to be huge. Like, these teams that are fighting to stay at the top of their respective, sides, like, I think it's huge. Like, I think if the Nuggets could stay up, whether it's 1 or 2 in the West, I think they have a chance to make a push in the playoffs. Like, because not only will they be at home helping them, but you're forcing the other team to be on the road, and no team has proven that they're like a dominant team on the road, At least not yet. I know we're only about halfway through the year, but still. You would think by halfway through the year, if a team was going to be good on the road, they would have shown something by now. So
you would think.
Yeah. But so it is an interesting thing to think about. What difference that would make in the playoffs, how much it would help a team or not help a team, because you don't normally think about that. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of go into your playoffs and you're like, hey, we're here to play basketball. Whatever happens, happens. Like, you're not like, oh, this team has home court advantage, because it's only one extra game at the end of the day in your 7-game series. But it could be a big deal this year. So, and
it could be. I've never been that big on away home court advantage. Like, I understand that, like I see, like, you can see that it does have an effect, but I've never been a believer to the point of some, like, I've never been like, that's the deciding factor or something like that. I've never been like that I don't know, that much of a believer on home away court advantage.
It is an interesting thing to think about, though, because put it in perspective, like, off the court, right? So you're forced to travel, so you have your travel time, which is, like, that could be draining. Like, how, like, think about if you were traveling with your family, like, it could be draining, right? So you got your travel time, then you got people that are away from their family, which is, that's hard for some people, and then you got to go into, like, a different city. If you're coming from, this is a perfect example for the Nuggets, like, if you're coming from, if it's a Miami team, playing the Nuggets in the finals, I say Miami team, obviously the Heat. If it's the Heat playing the Nuggets in the finals, right? if we got to travel to Denver, that's a problem, like altitude wise. Like they're used to it. They live there. You know what I mean? We're coming over. We're not. So there's a lot of factors, and then you're practicing away from your own facility. You're staying in hotels instead of your own house. Like there's a lot of things that go into it off the court that could really affect people if they're not used to it. Like sure, you do it throughout the year, but to do it in like a series like that, it's a different animal. So, and then you got to go on the court and play in front of rival fans that are completely bashing you the entire time. And every time you do something wrong, they're cheering. And every time you do something good, they're booing. Like,
I forgot. Going back to the NFL, I forgot what game it was. It was the Saints Rams game. The Rams players could not hear in the stadium. There was like a point where I forgot, one of the receivers was literally like when he was talking to Sean McVay, I guess he messed up on a play or something. He was like, I can't hear. Like, no, it makes a big difference. Just I don't know. I've just never been that. You know what? Fuck you, Jet.
Hey man, I gotta lay all the points out there. Okay, I agree though. Like I never thought too much into it until I saw like those, because I wasn't even really looking for that. It just I just happened to notice the away records when I was looking at like seating and stuff. So it was kind of an interesting thing to look at to kind of put in perspective. But yeah, I mean we'll see what happens. Like I'm excited. I mean I'm more excited for the Super Bowl right now just because it's the last game of the year for football, and then I can kind of shift gears into basketball and really focus on that. But I can't wait for the playoffs. Dude, playoff basketball is just so fun to watch. Like it's great. But yeah, I mean that's really all I had written down for NBA stuff. Is I mean the only other thing I can think of is please vote Dwayne Wade to the All-Star game, all right? Because if he doesn't make it, I'm going to be pretty upset. Especially looking at the projected All-Star lineup for the East. The last slot was Siakam from the freaking Raptors. And, like, no offense to dude, because I know he's been hooping. He's gotten a lot better. But you're young, all right? So if you make the All-Star game, I'm speaking to him right now as if he's listening to this, because I know he's not. But if you make the All-Star game, you better give up your spot for Dwayne Wade, all right? That's all I'm saying. It'd be the right thing to do.
You think they're going to put Dwayne Wade in the All-Star game?
I really hope they do, because it's his final year. And, the guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Just, it'd be a nice gift. The All-Star game really doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, but it'd just be a nice gift. It's like
Kobe an All-Star his last season?
Oh God, yeah, dude. He was a starter.
I was gonna say
he had like the most votes. Like, but I mean, it's like Magic Johnson, when he got sick and like he wasn't even playing in the NBA, but they still, he still played the All-Star game. Like, it's just straight out of respect because the dude's a freaking legend. You know what I mean? That needs to be done for. Not to mention, Dwayne Wade's like he's averaging like 14 points a game off the bench. It's not like he's like bad, He's had some good performances this year. Help my dog out, But yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's true.
But so one last thing that we'll talk about. You probably can't talk about it because. Just enlighten me to the fact that you haven't listened to it.
Oh, all right. I had to. Yeah, all right. You could have let me listen to the song before we jumped in.
Yeah, well, I didn't think about it actually. So.
Yeah, because you're an idiot.
Well, I'm not gonna argue that. All right, I'm just gonna accept that L and move on. But we do have. I mean, I would play it, but YouTube's going to totally copyright strike me, so I'm straight. Not going to do that. Probably get the video taken down if we did that, to be honest. I could play snippets. That's okay.
I mean, I don't know, man. This is like oof. I forgot what I was going to say right there, honestly.
Well, let me just start by actually saying what we're talking about, because I haven't even mentioned it yet. But we're talking about J. Cole's new song called Middle Child. It came out last night. J. Cole's one of my favorite artists. Uh, he's easily top 5 for me of all time. Again, that's like strictly my opinion. I also haven't dived into the OGs of rap and hip hop. I'm not showing them any respect at all, but that's okay. At least I understand that and I acknowledge it. But a new track came out. It's a great song. It's kind of a different vibe for Cole, but he's still able to have. It's not insane lyricism, but it's real, and it's just that big brother talk for the younger people, and it's also the kind of younger brother talk for the older people, if that makes sense. Hence the middle child title. Like he says in the song that he's stuck in between two generations, which is true because he's obviously Jay-Z is the one who put Cole on, and really helped him blow up and all that. Which is the first time I heard Cole was when he was featured on Jay-Z's Blueprint. I think it was Blueprint 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Was he really on Blueprint 3?
Yeah, the song "A Star Is Born," ironically, was the one with Cole, and that was the first time I heard him. I was like, "Oh, this dude's fire!" It was back in sometime in middle school, and then I remember 8th grade. I was bumping Cole's. What tape was it? I think it was Workout, maybe, or Friday Night Lights. I don't know. It was one of his older tapes.
Workout is a song. I think that album was or that project was Friday Night Lights.
Okay, so that was on. Okay, yeah. Well, regardless, I was bumping that back in 8th grade on my way to Grad Bash. I remember that very vividly. Anyways, but yeah, I've listened to Cole for a long time.
Story. That's what
yeah. There you go. But yeah, dope artist. Like I said, in my opinion, top 5 all time. Dude's insane. He's probably the best right now. I think him and Kendrick are like the two, up there that people talk about a lot. I prefer Cole over Kendrick just because he's more relatable to me, just with what he talks about a lot. But I also think Kendrick's more technical. They're similar, but they're different. This is a dope song for anyone who hasn't listened to it. I definitely recommend checking it out.
I don't know. I always prefer Kendrick more because it's a really good song in all aspects, but I feel like it has more replayability than Cole songs. Like that's the only thing for me. Like I like Cole, but his old stuff was really replayable, like Sideline Story, Friday Night Lights, like those tapes I listened to a lot back in the day too. But that was much more replayable than his new stuff. Like KOD was a good album, but maybe like 1 or 2 songs I replay off it, like KOD maybe. That's probably the only song I listen to, but like I don't really replay, especially what was the album before, I don't even remember the album before, because the album was not that great either. But I don't know.
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
See, that was a good album, like just like the meaning of it and just the way, like just the context of it. The content was good, but it just wasn't replayable to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those albums where it's really good content wise. I'm not listening to it again,
Well, with that album in particular, that's actually widely recognized as J. Cole's worst album. Which I could see it, when you play it through, I can understand why people would say that. Me personally, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, that is my number 1 album of all time of any artist of any genre of music. Front to back, I absolutely love that album. On top of it just being a great record with great songs on it, with great content, great sound, production, just everything just fits so perfectly. It flowed perfectly. There's everything from your hardcore, like kind of faster rap, down to your, slower kind of singy rap. It hits every single, check mark that you would want in an album, in my opinion. But it also takes me back to like a really fun time. That was my senior year of high school. Everyone was bumping that. So just in all facets, to me, that is the greatest album of all time. Like I said, of any genre, of any artist. I absolutely love it. Again, I probably know every word to every song front to back on that because I've heard it so many times. But the biggest thing with Cole that I've seen people say is that he's boring. And it's an interesting thing to bring up because obviously everyone has their opinion. Everybody's different. And it's weird because when I listen to some of his songs, I'm like, yo, I could see how someone would say this is boring. Right? Like, it doesn't have the hard-hitting bass. It doesn't have drops. Like, it's just kind of him going. You know what I mean? So...
And I think that's a thing, too, about... Like, I'll listen to it. It's like a good song, but it's not something... Like, I like music like that, but when I'm just, like, replaying songs, that's something I'm not... Like, that's not a song I'm listening to when I'm driving or, like, I'm working out or something, or I'm just, like... That's like a song like when I'm like chilling. Like I'll play a song, something like that. But that's why the replayability is not there for me.
What that's the other thing too, because I mean think about your situations in life when you go to play music. Like when you go to listen to music, you know, a lot of the times you're doing something. So you want something that's either, you know, background noise, which if you want background noise, you're going to want something that's hitting. You know, you're usually not just going to want J. Cole kind of rapping in your background for the most part. I mean, some people might like that, but you're going to want something that's kind of hitting, or like you said, if you're in your car, again, you're usually looking for a fire beat because you want it to bump in your car. Like it's a normal thing. That's kind of the reason you play music, you know? So I get it, but I think to me, like, I just, like, it's so like with KOD, because he did it with KOD. I think he nailed it with KOD with certain songs that they have that hard hitting beat that you could play in your car, but he's also still rapping about something of importance. There's still a message. There's still great content to it. It's like, why? I'm gonna say why, even though I know the answer. Why can't some of these new age rappers? Why can't they rap on these hard beats and just have content, like have context, have just something, substance in what they're saying rather than just nonsense? You know what I mean? And it's like...
People like nonsense, that's why.
I understand people say, oh, I like nonsense because I don't want to have to, you know, analyze what I'm hearing. I want to just be able to put it on and it's just gonna play, and I'm gonna be happy. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to break down what I'm hearing, and I don't want to use my brain and this and that. And it's like, I get it, but at the same time, you could do both. Like, if Cole gives you a track, right, that's an absolute banger, and I have another example of someone who did it too, besides Cole, but we'll just use Cole since we're talking about him. He gives you an absolute banger, dude, like trunk rattling, just freaking, like, hit of the sun, like Sicko Mode. Everyone's playing Sicko Mode. Imagine if Cole gave you Sicko Mode but with lyrics. Why can't you just bump it? Like, if you don't want to analyze his lyrics, if you don't want to take the message away from it, that's fine. Just bump it then. You know what I mean? Like, why is that like people have such a mental block of like, oh, he's saying something, I don't want to play that. I don't want to support that. But yet you got 6ix9ine out there, like, you know, saying his stupid stuff, and it's like, yo, I'll bump this though. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stupid. It's really all it is. Like, there's no legitimate reason behind it besides the fact that, like, you just don't want to be associated with something that has, you know, more than face value of what the person's saying. Like, that's the only thing I could take out of it. You know what I mean? So, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just, like, super biased on that because I don't really mess with all the, you know, nonsense rap, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. But, like, the other example I was going to use was Denzel Curry. Denzel Curry is a super talented artist from Miami. Just, like, he'll give you these fire beats. Like, the song Sumo absolutely slaps, dude. Like, in your car, it's a banger. But he's also saying stuff. Like he has actual, you know, bars in there. Like, he can actually rap, you know? But it's like, at the same time, if you want to just bump it in your car, you're perfectly fine because there's no, like, you don't have to analyze the dude's lyrics. If you don't want to, just don't do it. Like, just play it. It's catchy, you know? But I don't know. It's just an interesting concept. I think people just kind of have that mental block, and they just, it's almost like they just don't want to be associated with something that, requires some brain power. But again, maybe I'm just super biased on that. You know what I mean? But and then
you're just mad, dude.
I wouldn't say I'm mad, but
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Nice little rant though.
Yeah, I appreciate that, CZ. One time for the one times for the real rap. You know what I mean? Shout out my brother. Yes, I am CZ. Make sure y'all go follow him on Twitch. Check out Inspect Tech on YouTube, and check out his music.
Plug, by the way.
Yeah. It's not shameless though. It is shameless. My bad.
It is. We got an idiot here, guys. We got an idiot here.
I was gonna say it's just a plug. That's it. But yeah, man. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I could talk all day about the different kinds of, subgenres of rap, and I mean, honestly, we could get into the whole Soulja Boy thing with all that going on, and because me personally, came to the realization of how much he actually has influenced a lot of rap these days, even though it's the rap that I don't really listen to, and a lot of the rap that I don't per se like or support. He really did influence a lot of people, and you see a lot of people taking his flows and just, again, it's actually pretty interesting. But I think we'll save that for next week. I think we could talk about that next week, and we'll bring CZ on next week to talk about it as well. He's a big rap head, and he knows a lot more than probably both of us put together. So there's that as well. But yeah, man. So that's gonna be it for today. Appreciate you guys hanging out, tuning in.
Look. Hold on a second.
Oh God, he's pulling the Kanye.
Oh my God, no.
I'm pulling. Hey, listen. I'm gonna let y'all talk. Anyways, what do you mean we can't talk about Soulja Boy right now? Because you hit a soft spot here.
I mean, what are your thoughts on Soulja Boy?
I think Soulja Boy is low key lit, and I think people talk shit and don't even know why.
He really is, bro. Soulja Boy is low key really funny, really I don't know. He just has something about Soulja Boy where people hate on him, but when you look at him real close, it's like, why are you hating on the man? He's done nothing.
Exactly. Okay, here's the deal. Yes, he has an interesting sense of style. His music is subpar if you're gonna compare it to, heavy hitters like J. Cole, which y'all were talking about earlier. But
he's a cool guy.
I agree with Jet. He has influenced the industry in a big way. If you go back to Turn My Swag On, Rank That Soulja Boy, that was a whole era of music that was coming out, like dancing music, things like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention for example, he has a song called what is it? The one I showed to you, Jet, while I was down there. Is it Oh My God Part 2? It's literally the Versace beat before Versace even came out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that being said, I think Soulja Boy is dope. I think he has low-key kind of cool lyrics, his own style. Plus, he's really into gaming and stuff like that, other things that I think he incorporates into his style, which makes him unique. Comparative to if you show me a lot of newer rappers, if you show me Lil Pump and 6ix9ine, for example, different styles, but really what's the difference? Except for one's a little bit more hardcore and the hair's a little bit more colorful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing unique. There's nothing unique anymore. Nothing's unique. It's face tats and weird looks and auto-tune. That's really all it takes. Doesn't matter, too. Doesn't matter where you're from, what you do, what your background is. It's all the same.
Yeah, 100%. And
I mean, Eminem said it best. Lil Pump, Lil Xan imitate Lil Wayne or something like that, right? Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
Because I agree. Because Lil Wayne was one who kind of pioneered that kind of lean rap. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne's better.
Except Lil Wayne is better. I agree.
Yeah, that's not even a question. But no, definitely. And I think, like you said, with Soulja Boy, when Crank That came out, I remember being in 8th grade. It was a massive hit. And that, to me, is what started, without Crank That, right? Without the Superman dance, whatever it's called, there is no In My Feelings challenge. You know what I mean? What happened with Drake? That there is none of that without Soulja Boy. And like,
no way.
It's just and like Bape. Nobody cared about Bape. I didn't know what it was until Soulja Boy was like, haters getting mad because I got me some bathing apes. Everybody wanted those shoes at that point. You know what I mean? And
no,
it was
that's what
like,
I'm saying, man. Like
nobody knew what that was.
All that type of music. Teach Me How to Dougie. All that type of stuff. It came from that kind of style of music. Like, and I wouldn't necessarily say he was the sole pioneer of that, but he definitely was a part of that wave, and he was a big part of that wave because I can't think of a song that was bigger than Crank That Soulja Boy.
Nope.
Or Crank That, you know what I mean, when it came out. I don't think there was one.
Massive. Yeah.
Massive.
It's like ice creams with Pharrell. You know what I mean?
Pharrell, right.
Nobody knew about that. Nobody wanted that until Pharrell was like, yo, this is what I'm on. And everyone's like,
no, it's true.
Dope.
Well, that's the funny thing is that those were skateboarding shoes. So I knew about what those were before Pharrell was coming out and saying that. And because there was a skateboarder I used to watch named Terry Kennedy who used to wear those.
Yeah.
And then Pharrell started saying that. And then there was the crazy colors and style. And at that time, like 2007, 2006, that was the deal, man. Like Bapes, like you were talking about, ice creams, like literally it was like the whole thing. And I'll tell you what, Soulja Boy was like Soulja Boy right now, if you think about it, like this is gonna sound crazy, but that man is definitely a veteran. Like he's been in the game for like fucking 12 years.
I was gonna say,
excuse my friend.
He's over a decade, and he still put out a song. And I understand it might, again, his music is not necessarily the best, but his new song that he put out some days ago is actually not half bad, and it's got good views, whether that be because of what he's doing right now with, hype, all this hype around him and all his, interviews and stuff, being a funny guy is what I'm going to refer to that as. But either way, like, he made himself relevant again. It's been over a decade, and he's still out. Like, we're still talking about him right now. You know what I mean? So it means something.
Well, I mean,
the power of Soulja.
That's true, but that's what I'm saying. But he's always been a funny guy. That's always been how he's like. He's always been weird and quirky like that, and says some crazy shit. And yes, now he's a meme. So that's all you got to do is become a meme, and get yourself back up and going again. So
yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on, Steezy. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, no worries. I just had to, man. You guys were talking about rap music, and I was like, no.
No, we'll definitely dedicate an episode to talking about all this and have you on, and we'll get into some deeper topics, and it'll be fun. But
we'll get in real deep.
Okay, all right. That's where we're gonna call it a day. Again,
look, just pass me on that invite, man, if it's gonna get bad.
I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. Again, special thanks to CZ for stopping by and giving his input. I think we're all kind of on the same page, man. Shout out to Soulja Boy. If you want to go ahead and sponsor the podcast, go ahead and hit me up, and we'll make something happen, dude. But anyways, again, thank you guys for watching. Stay up, stay fresh, and I'll see y'all next week.
And look forward to All-Star Starter Talk next podcast, because they are starting to announce the starters.
Super Bowl's coming up too, baby.
They just announced the captains and a couple of starters and stuff. So
lit.